Is Lara Angela B. Baltazar from grade 11 STEM 111, and this is my quarterly assessment for the fourth quarter of the last semester for statistics. We were tasked to answer 5 question problems, and now let's begin. First problem is, a company which makes battery-operated cars claims that its product have a mean lifespan of 10 years with a standard deviation of 6 years. If a random sample of 40 toy cars was tested and found to have a life mean of only 8 years, test if the sample is a representation of the population at 0.05 level of significance. So, let's move to the first step, that is to state the hypothesis. So it is HO that is mean equal to 10 and H1 mean is not equal to 10. Next is step 2, the level of significance, 1 or 2 tailed test, and the degrees of freedom. The alpha here is 0.05 and it is a 2-tailed test. Step 3 is the statistical test, that is a 1-sample z-test. And for step 4, computation. This is supposed to be an x-bar, but I don't know what happened. But anyway, it is 8 and the mean is 10, standard deviation is 6, and the sample or population is 40. So now for the formula that is computed in Desmos, it is 8 minus 10 all over 6 over square root of 40, and you get negative 2.108 or negative 2.11. Now for the step 5 decision rule, it is to reject HO if Z-comp is greater than or equal to Z-tap. Reject HO if negative 2.11 is greater than or equal to 1.96. So we can see that the graph here, or the normal distribution, is in the rejection area. So that brings us to the reject HO or fail to reject HO, and the answer is reject HO. So conclusion is the mean lifespan of the product is not 10 years. Moving on to the second question. A coffee shop relocates to Italy and wants to make sure that all lattes are consistent. They believe that each latte has an average of 6 ounces of espresso. If this is not the case, they must increase or decrease the amount. They took a random sample of 10 lattes, and the following are the ounces of espresso: 9, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 6, 2, 7, and 6. Use alpha 0.01. Step 1, again, state the hypothesis. So it is HO, U is equal to 6, and H1 is mean. Mean is not equal to 6. Step 2 is the level of significance, 1 or 2 tailed test, and the degrees of freedom. Alpha is 0.01, 2-tailed test, and the degrees of freedom is 10 minus 1, so 9. Step 3, statistical test, 1-sample t-test. Step 4, computation. Again, it is an x-bar, and to get the x-bar, there is also a formula. So you get all the values here and add it to each other in the numerator, and under that will be the 10 or the samples. So that equates to 4.5, and the mean is 6. And now for the S, the pretty lengthy formula, if I may say so, but here is just a picture of the calculation done in Desmos, because it's too long to be fitted in one screenshot. But what I did was get each of it and put it in a first, so the radical sign, and do a fraction, and in the numerator subtract this to 4.5 and raise that to the second degree or second power and add it to the next one and do it until you finish to the last value. So I hope that's clear, but under that will be the n minus 1. So we get that and we will get 2.718 or 2.72. And for the n, it is 10. Now to get the answer that we are really finding, we are going to proceed to the other formula and use the data that we got. So 4.5 minus 6 over 2.72 over square root of 10 is equal to negative 1.74. Now for the decision rule, reject HO if T-comp is greater than or equal to T-tab. Reject HO if negative 1.74 is greater than or equal to 3.25. The graph here is the rejection area was not met. So failed to reject HO, and therefore the average ounce of espresso in each latte is really 6 ounces. Number 3 is the school registrar estimates that the dropout rate of senior high schools in Cavite is 56%. Last year, 80 freshmen from a random sample of 96 Cavite Senior High School withdrew. At 0.01, is there enough evidence to reject the registrar's claim? So, step 1, state the hypothesis again. So, HO is to P equal to 0.56. 0.56 because we made the decimal, the percentage to decimal. So, H1 is equal to P not equal to 0.56. Step 2, the level of significance, 1 or 2 tailed test, and degrees of freedom. Alpha is 0.01 and it is also a 2-tailed test. Step 3 is statistical test and it is a z-test for proportion. Next, step for computation, p hat equal to 0.83. So p is equal to 0.56 and q is equal to 0.44. So the computation for that is 0.83 minus 0.56 over square root of 0.56 multiplied to 0.44 over 96. You would get 5.329 or 5.33. Decision rule is to reject HO if Z-comp is greater than zeta and reject HO if 5.33 is greater than or equal to 2.58. This is the graph for that, and we can see that it is in the rejection area. So we have to reject it, and the conclusion for that is the dropout rate of senior high schools in Cavite is not 56. Fourth question, we are asked to give data on the 6 patients and determine its correlation coefficient. So X here is the age of the patients and Y is the blood sugar level of the patients. So I just supplied data here, and 10 being the lowest age and 17 being the highest. So Y is the blood sugar, so I just did some guess on the levels. And now to proceed with the problem, we would need to get xy and x squared and y squared. So to get the xy, we just have to multiply x to the y value. So it goes like 16 times 90 is equal to 1,440. 15 times 120 is 1,800. 12 times 100 is 1,200, and so on. Now to the x squared, we would just have to square the x values. So 16 squared is 256, 15 squared is 225, 12 squared is 144, 17 squared is 289, and so on. And that goes same with the y squared. So just square the y values and get 90 squared is 8,100, 120 squared is 14,400, 100 squared is 10,000, and so on. After getting all the needed values, we would have to get its summation. So get the add all the values to each other, and you would get 84. So summation of x is 84, summation of y is 575, summation of xy is 8,105, summation of x squared is 1,210, and summation of y squared is 56,375. Now that we got the summations, we can now proceed with the actual computation, also done in Desmos. So using the formula for the R and supplying the summations or values we got, we would get 6 times 8105 minus 84 times 575 over square root of 6 times 1210 minus 84 squared times 6 times 56,375 minus the 575 squared. And we would get 0.2645 or 0.26. For the last question, that is predict the grade of a student in math if his grade in English is 96. I decided to put 96 for his grade. So I supplied the grade for math because x is for English because x is for his grade in English and math is y. So as I did in the previous problem, I multiplied x to y and got 96 times 92 is 8,832, 91 times 87 is 7,917, and so on. And squared the x also to get x squared. So 96 squared is 9,216, 91 squared is 8,281, 88 squared is 7,744, and so on. And get the summation. So summation of x is 888, summation of y is 896, summation of xy is 79,847, summation of x squared is 79,270. Finally, for the computation for the y is equal to bx plus a or y is equal to a plus bx, we would first need to get the a and b values. So there are different formulas for each one. So to get the a, we would have to use this this formula and just supply the values, and we would get their values. So A is 30.44 and B is 0.666 or 0.67. So we would supply it to the y equals to bx plus a and use x or use 96 to supply to x. So y is equal to 0.67 times 96 plus 30.44 is equal to 94.76. That is it for my quarterly assessment, and thank you for listening.